Welcome to Trending Update USA. I'm Steffan, and today we dive into one of the most heated, emotional, and widely discussed moments of the tennis season as Coco Gauff and Iga Swiatek find themselves at the center of a rare courtside confrontation that has left tennis fans completely divided. What was meant to be a thrilling matchup between two of the WTA's brightest stars turned into a moment that has dominated headlines, ignited debates, and sparked reactions across social media like wildfire. The moment was brief, but the energy, the tension, and the emotion behind it have become the biggest talking point in tennis right now, and for the first time in a long time, these two players, usually admired for their calm and composed personalities, showed a rawer, more intense side to their competitive fire. It all unfolded late in the second set of their highly anticipated clash, a match that had already stretched into long rallies, strategic battles, and emotional swings that had fans on the edge of their seats. Gauff, known for her power, athleticism, and intensity, had been pushing Swiatek to the limit with aggressive returns and fearless court coverage. Swiatek, on the other hand, stuck to her trademark precision, movement, and tactical discipline, refusing to let the American settle into any rhythm. Every point felt like a final. Every mistake felt amplified. And every winner sent shockwaves through the stadium. The tension reached its peak when Gauff approached the net after a disputed line call during a critical point that could have shifted the momentum of the match. Swiatek, who rarely engages in any on-court disagreements, walked toward the net as well, clearly upset by the confusion over the call. What followed was a short but unmistakably tense exchange between the two. Microphones picked up only fragments, both players speaking quickly, clearly frustrated, and clearly not agreeing with each other. And even though neither insult was exchanged and no rules were broken, the body language alone was enough to send fans into a frenzy. Coco gestured toward the baseline, insisting the ball was clearly out, while Iga insisted it clipped the line. The umpire confirmed the call, but the disagreement between the players did not immediately dissolve. Instead, they exchanged a few more words, firm, controlled, but undeniably charged. Fans watching live immediately reacted with a mix of shock, excitement, and disbelief. Two of the sport's most composed young stars were visibly annoyed, face to face, in a moment that no one expected to see. The crowd in the stadium had mixed reactions as well. Some booed. Some cheered. Some stood in stunned silence. But one thing was clear: the moment changed the entire energy of the match. Gauff intensified her pace, hitting harder, pushing deeper into the court, and making it clear she was not backing down. Swiatek, typically emotionless on court, showed rare visible frustration, pacing behind the baseline and taking a moment longer before serving. The competitive fire was fully ignited. When the match resumed, the rallies became even longer, more physical, and more emotional. Every point carried weight. Every ball felt like a response. And by the time the third set began, commentators were openly acknowledging that the match had shifted into something much more personal, a test not just of tennis skill, but of mental resilience and emotional control. Fans online exploded into debate. Some insisted Coco Gauff was right to stand her ground. Others argued that Swiatek had every right to defend her position as well. And a third group believed the moment was being blown out of proportion, claiming it was simply two competitors expressing normal match-day emotion under pressure. One fan wrote, "This is what tennis needs, raw emotion, real passion. Coco stood up for herself and I love it." Another replied, "No way, Iga had the right call. Coco made it bigger than it was. She's overreacting." The back-and-forth debates have continued non-stop, with video clips being slowed down, analyzed, freeze-framed, and debated in comment sections across the internet. But it wasn't only the fans. Analysts weighed in too. Some former players said it was refreshing to see two stars who are normally so polite finally let the world see their fire. Others said it highlighted the pressure of the WTA season, where rivalries are sharper, expectations are higher, and every match feels like a battle for dominance and legacy. This moment is especially significant because of the history between Gauff and Swiatek. For years, Swiatek had a dominant record over Gauff, seemingly having all the answers to her game. But that dynamic shifted last season when Gauff finally broke through, defeating Iga in a stunning match that many believed marked the beginning of a genuine rivalry. Since then, every time they face each other, the stakes feel higher and the pressure intensifies. Gauff's confidence has grown. Swiatek's pride as a #1 level player continues to push her to defend her reign. And the contrast in their personalities, Coco's fiery athleticism versus Iga's calm precision, has become one of the most compelling elements of their matchup. In this match, that contrast collided like never before. Even players across the tour reacted. Some posted cryptic emojis. Some laughed it off. Some avoided weighing in completely, wanting no part in choosing sides. And this silence from fellow players only fueled more speculation, more commentary, and more theories. But what made the moment even more gripping was what happened after the final point. The handshake. Every fan, commentator, and camera operator was watching to see whether this moment had permanently affected their relationship. As they walked to the net, the entire stadium held its breath. The handshake was quick, firm, professional, but clearly not warm. No smiles. No eye contact. Just a brief, stiff acknowledgement, and then a fast walk toward their respective benches. Social media erupted again, with fans dissecting the handshake frame by frame. Some insisted Swiatek brushed past Gauff too quickly. Others said Gauff barely looked at Iga. And others believed the tension still lingered, unresolved and unspoken. This is where the debate gets even more complicated. Both players are role models, admired not just for their athletic abilities but for their maturity, grace, and professionalism. So when they show frustration or emotion, it shocks some fans, but for others, it makes them even more relatable. After all, these are world-class athletes carrying immense pressure, facing expectations from fans, coaches, sponsors, and the media while dealing with the emotional swings of competition. In the post-match interviews, both players kept their comments brief and professional, but the underlying tension was impossible to ignore. Gauff, when asked about the exchange, said, "It was just a disagreement, nothing personal. We both wanted the point. It's part of the game." But her expression suggested the moment still lingered in her mind. Swiatek, asked the same question, replied, "These things happen. We both care about winning. It's emotional, but it ends on the court." Yet her tone indicated she wasn't thrilled by how the exchange unfolded. Analysts read between the lines. Fans read between the words. Commentators suggested the rivalry had just entered a new phase, one where the competitive tension was no longer just on the scoreboard but also in the emotional exchanges that define true sporting rivalries. Coco Gauff's fans have praised her for standing up assertively in a moment of pressure. Swiatek's fans have applauded her composure and insist she was right in defending her stance. This has created one of the most polarizing debates of the season, one that will likely continue until they face each other again. What's undeniable is that this moment will be remembered. It will be replayed in future match previews. It will be referenced every time their rivalry is discussed. And it will fuel anticipation for their next encounter, which already feels like it will carry extra weight, extra tension, and extra emotion. Both players are still incredibly young. Both have long careers ahead. Both are expected to define the future of women's tennis. And this moment, the tense exchange, the disagreement, the emotional edge, may ultimately be remembered as the spark that transformed their rivalry from respectful competition into something deeper, something more personal, something fans will follow passionately for years to come. Only time will tell whether they'll address the moment publicly again or whether they'll choose to let their rackets speak the next time they share the court. But for now, the tennis world remains split down the middle, with fans debating, arguing, and taking sides in one of the most unexpected controversies of the season. And as this story continues to spread, one thing is certain: Coco Gauff and Iga Swiatek have given the tennis world a moment that will be talked about for a long, long time. Whether you believe Coco was right, or Iga was justified, or both were simply emotional competitors in a high-pressure situation, there is no denying the intensity and electricity of the moment they created. The sport thrives on these clashes, these sparks, these raw moments of passion that remind us why we love to watch. From courtside tension to global debate, this moment has officially entered tennis history. And every fan will be watching closely to see what happens next between these two titans of the game. This is Trending Update USA, I'm Steffan, and this story is far from over.